Row, and in Indiana, 94 eastbound slows between Route 20 and State Road 249 with a crash. That's traffic. I'm Paul Bodenloss on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Partly sunny, cooler, less humid, high 75 today, partly cloudy and 60 overnight. 67 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2 on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and remember all those green new jobs that were promised by Joe Biden and his alter ego, Comrade Bernie Sanders, going to revolutionize the American economy? Well, the second quarter GDP number was in yesterday, disappointed, and the 6.5% GDP growth in the second quarter is mostly government funding money fuel to begin with, and one wonders what we are to make of those promises at present, and what that Senate infrastructure deal may portend on the same topic. For more on this, pleased to be joined by Jim Pinkerton, co-chair of the Rate Coalition and contributor to the American Conservative and Breitbart. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
So where do we stand on the creation of 10 million, 20 million, 50 million green new jobs where those coal miners can learn to code and live, in a Tony place like Northern Virginia someday?
Well, like you, I had complete faith in Biden and Sanders to deliver on their promise of 10 good million good new jobs. And so, probably like you, I was surprised to read in the New York Times on July 16th, quote, this is the New York Times, a news story, on its current trajectory, the green economy is shaping up to look less like the industrial workplace that lifted workers into the middle class in the 20th century, and something more akin to an Amazon warehouse or a fleet of Uber drivers, grueling work schedules, middling wages, and limited benefits. Now, I was really, really shocked to read that.
So it's not materialized yet, but the good news is help is on the way, at least if this $1 trillion deal negotiated by Senate Democrats with the Biden White House comes to pass in the House, because we have a phantasmagoria of electric car charging stations and broadband and high-speed rail.
And solar power. That's, it's worth understanding that the Biden plan of getting rid of coal and oil and natural gas and replacing it with solar, it's worth realizing that 80% of the solar panels in the world are made in China. So if we start doing this right away, we'll have to buy the panels from China. So we'll be shutting down power plants, the old kind of power plants, the ones that worked, and replacing them with solar panels made in China. Now, again, think to yourself in terms of good jobs and good wages. The good jobs and good wages are found typically in manufacturing. Installing is a good job too, but not as good. And so if we buy things manufactured in China and simply hire Americans to install solar panels on everybody's house or in cornfields or wherever, that is a huge wealth transfer to China, even as, of course, the Chinese building new coal-fired power plants.
Maybe we could call that green gain-of-function research funding for the Chinese. And the other thing, too, because it was so popular during Joe Obama terms 1 and 2, we got a little venture capital fund over at the Department of Energy under this plan. Jennifer Granholm is going to sit on a $70 billion fund to invest in all kinds of miracle companies like Solyndra again.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun job, huh? Just give $70 billion to your friends.
Well, so the good news here, limited as it is, although don't tell Rob Portman that, is that the $40 billion to expand the IRS, that's out. The new infrastructure bank is out. Some of the $1 trillion includes $200 billion of repurposed COVID relief. Okay, well, that speaks to what those COVID relief packages were like. Also, on the high-speed and on the less good news side, mass transit received $170 billion in pandemic relief. Only about $20 billion of that's been spent to date. Yet they're going to get another $90 billion under this deal. So, I mean, net this out for us. In your opinion, Republicans, please clap Republicans like Rob Portman who negotiated this. Is this a the sausage making and it's the best we could do and it's better than nothing sort of Republican sort of response that we should accept, or is this Republican capitulation on generally a bad idea?
I think it's basically sausage making, and it's the best you're going to do. I mean, there's stuff that's valuable in there. I mean, if we could move towards solar and renewables and so on, and include carbon capture, which Biden has talked about it from time to time. In other words, and then we could simply say that we're not going to import things from China if the Chinese continue to generate their electricity through coal. Then there could actually be a positive in this, which is to say we do what President Trump was talking about, which is to decouple the economy of the U.S. and China and bring back, and if we could bring back solar panel manufacturing back into the United States, into places like Illinois or wherever, not China, then that would ultimately be good. I mean, I think we have to realize that there's a larger struggle in the world with China now, and that we will certainly lose if we find ourselves endlessly and continuously dependent on China. So any opportunity we have to cut that link, I think is worth some sausage in the meantime.
Yeah, because as you mentioned in your article, 80% of solar panels are made in China. But if they bring that back and start open manufacturing, will those 11,000 Keystone Pipeline workers, will they be able to apply for those jobs, or did Biden just want them to go straight into coding?
I think they could take up diversity and inclusion
there you go.
work in corporate America. They could be in charge of hiring Colin Kaepernick for everything. Look, there's a lot of serious issues here, and yes, if America was serious about a Hamiltonian economic strategy, as in Alexander Hamilton, of making things here in the United States, that would be good both for the economy and for our national security, because you can't succeed if your enemy is making the stuff you need. I mean, and the example that we might cite is during World War II, after the Japanese conquered Asia after Pearl Harbor, we all of a sudden we realized we had no source of rubber. And so we had to generate a synthetic rubber industry, mostly in Ohio, and within a few months, it was a spectacular economic success. We created a synthetic rubber industry made out of oil in the United States, which was a great boost to the economy for the next half century. So if we could start doing things like that, this would all be to the good. I hope Republicans, and frankly Democrats too, join in the plan of how do we get back in the habit of making things once again in the United States.
Well, and I mean, the predicate question that we're wrestling with now as we're in COVID infinity here is are we going to be allowed to make things in the United States, even to the extent we could onshore businesses for comparative advantage reasons? And so, what's your sense of where we stand? Jay Powell's pronouncements on inflation is here to stay, combined with the disappointing GDP number, combined with some hushed but loose talk about a return to lockdowns in some places.
Well, I mean, I'm old enough, sad to say, to remember the 1970s very well. I'm a baby boomer, and so I sure as heck know what it's like to have high inflation and low growth. And the point about the Keystone Pipeline is well taken. And that certainly ought to be a campaign talking point in 2022, and say, okay, President Biden, we take you seriously, for the moment on your promise to create good jobs and good wages here inside the United States as opposed to China. Now, here is our 10-point plan for doing that, and including Keystone, And do you agree with that? And yes, the issue of the vaccines and the masks has to get thought through. My own view is, I got vaccinated. I was happy to do so. I think Operation Warp Speed is one of the great triumphs of 21st century America, for that matter, 20th century America. And so if everybody, President Trump worked hard to get the vaccine done, and a lot of people around him worked hard. And I think we should be celebrating that success, and that would transcend the mask issue. And if we need to get booster shots or something, okay, well, fine. I look forward to getting a booster shot if I had to. It beats being told what to do about wearing masks all the time.
He is Jim Pinkerton, co-chair of the Rate Coalition, contributor to the American Conservative, as well as Breitbart. Jim, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of your number one home mortgage company, Townstone Financial. Want to close your loan quickly? Want to work with a company with the newest technologies in the mortgage business and get all this with great rates and low closing costs? Then look no further. The answer is Townstone.com. What else does Townstone currently have? How about the low interest rate Home Ready program and Home Possible for home purchases that come with free appraisals? We are also obtaining appraisal waivers on many types of refinances and purchases for conventional loans, which will save you over $450 in closing costs. Don't want to find your bank statements or pay stubs? Well, with our new technology, we can obtain these in many cases without you lifting a finger. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're searching for a jumbo mortgage, FHA, VA, or even a reverse mortgage. I guarantee no one is going to beat Townstone's interest rates and low closing costs, and I own the company. So give us a call now at 312-896-2110 because nobody values your home purchase and refinance business more than Townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, NMLS 136639, www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org, equal housing lender.
75,000 large, 75 grand, $75,000. It's the business boost from AM 560, The Answer, and Signature Bank. Your business can win a $75,000 marketing campaign to help you recover from last year's challenge. To enter your business, just tell us how you've overcome the roadblocks, kept your business going during the pandemic, and how a marketing boost could help. Enter between now and August 1st at 560theanswer.com/boost. Again, by August 1st, 560theanswer.com/boost.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay,